The moment Daniel Harper turned off his car's engine outside his mom's cozy little house on Willow Lane, a heavy silence slammed into him. It wasn't the calm quiet of a lazy, suburban afternoon. No, this was something else, thick, suffocating, like the world was holding its breath. His mom, Clara Harper, lived for sound. Her place was always alive with soft jazz spilling from open windows, the hum of her old TV, or the clink of her teacup as she sipped chamomile on the porch. But today, nothing. The porch, usually her happy spot, was empty. The bright Daniel, a guy who'd spent his career chasing sounds as the city's top audio forensics expert, felt his stomach twist. His ears, tuned to pick up the faintest whisper of trouble, screamed that something was wrong. He hurried up the path, past Clara's perfect roses, their sweet scent doing nothing to ease the cold dread creeping up his spine. The front door was cracked open. "Mom," he called, pushing it wider. His voice sank into the void, swallowed by the eerie hush. Inside, he found her in the living room, slumped in her favorite armchair. Clara, 72, was a woman who'd built her life around music and warm conversation, but now she sat motionless, her face pale as ash, her eyes wide with a horror that made Daniel's heart lurch. On the coffee table in front of her, like some twisted shrine, were the shattered remains of her high-tech hearing aids. Not just broken, smashed, as if someone had unleashed pure rage on them. Next to the wreckage sat a claw hammer, its steel head gleaming coldly against the lace doily underneath. "Mom!" Daniel dropped to his knees, grabbing her icy hand. She flinched, her gaze crawling to meet his, raw with despair. "Daniel," she whispered, her voice so faint he barely caught it. She ripped them out my ears. Then the hammer. Tears carved slow paths down her wrinkled cheeks. Said they were hurting her. Before Daniel could wrap his head around it, a voice sharp and smug cut through the silence. "Oh, come now, it's not Saw that's Saw serious. I did everyone a favor, really." Margaret Voss, the iron-fisted president of the Maple Grove Homeowners Association, stood in the doorway, arms crossed, her silver hair practically crackling with self-righteous energy. Her eyes, cold and unyielding, locked onto Daniel. "Those awful VYCS were a nightmare, Dr. Harper. The ultrasonic screeching they made? Pure torture. Your mother was warned, repeatedly saw." Daniel stood, his voice low and dangerous, nothing like his usual calm, professor-like tone. "Are you saying you attacked my mom and smashed her medical equipment?" Margaret scoffed, her laugh brittle. "Attacked? Don't be so dramatic. I removed a nuisance. Some of us have sensitive ears, you see. Those gadgets were an assault on my nerves." Daniel glanced at his mom, still trembling, then at the mangled hearing aids Clara's lifeline to the world. A icy rage settled over him, the kind that powered his toughest cases. This wasn't just about broken tech. Margaret had stolen his mom's ability to saw live saw, all because of some delusional nonsense about phantom noises. And Daniel Harper, the guy who turned sound into courtroom-proof, wasn't about to let that slide. Clara had always been Daniel's rock. A retired music librarian, she'd spent her days surrounded by symphonies, her life a quiet song of gardening, reading, and long talks with her son. But a decade ago, hearing loss started robbing her of those joys. Conversations turned into guesswork, music faded to a dull hum, and the world's warmth slipped away. She'd grown quiet, lonely, her spark dimming. Then, 2 years back, Daniel splurged on state-of-the-art hearing aids, tiny computers tailored to Clara's ears, filtering noise, boosting voices, even syncing with her phone. They weren't cheap, costing as much as a used car, but they brought her back. She laughed again, rejoined her book club, and hummed along to her favorite Ella Fitzgerald records. Those aids were her bridge to life. Maple Grove, the pristine neighborhood where Clara's house sat, was obsessed with perfection down to the exact shade of taupe allowed on fences. Margaret Voss ruled it like a queen, her crusade against noise bordering on unhinged. Wind chimes? Banned. Kids playing too loud? Fined. A dog's bark? War. She'd been HOA president for 5 years, elected on promises of peace, But her version of peace was a dictatorship of silence. Clara, with her quiet life and new hearing aids, somehow ended up in Margaret's crosshairs. It started snide note about Clara's TV being too loud, even though Daniel knew it was barely audible. Then a warning about the chime of Clara's antique clock, a sound nobody else minded. Things got uglier during a neighborhood garden tour. Clara was proudly showing off her roses when Margaret swooped in, voice dripping with fake sugar. "Clara, dear, those earpieces of yours are giving off a dreadful high-pitched whine. It's faint, but for those of us with fine saw hearing, it's like a drill." Clara, humiliated, apologized, though nobody else heard a thing. Daniel wasn't HOA-ing it. He took the aides to his Laba high-tech sanctuary of soundproof chambers and spectral analyzers and ran every test imaginable. The results? Perfect. No screeches, no rogue frequencies. He sent Margaret a polite letter with the data, hoping reason would win. It didn't. If anything, it made her worse. Anonymous notes started showing up at Clara's door, typed in an old-school font. Daniel bet came from Margaret's ancient typewriter. "Your ear gadgets are giving me migraines. They're scaring off birds. Remove them or else." Margaret even started blasting leaf blowers near Clara's porch, then blamed any discomfort on faulty aids. The final straw came at the HOA's Silent Night Carol Stroll, a Christmas event Clara loved. Margaret, in her infinite arrogance, demanded nobody wear electronic amplifiers to keep the event pure. It was a blatant jab at Clara's aides. With Daniel's encouragement, Clara stood her ground, saying she'd attend with her aides, as was her right. That defiance, that tiny act of courage, pushed Margaret over the edge. Then came a bombshell. A tip from a fed-up ex-HOA worker revealed Margaret's secret. She was running an unlicensed sound therapy business from her home, charging a fortune for crystal bowl sessions and deep silence immersion. Any noise, even Clara's silent aids, threatened her scam. To Margaret, Clara wasn't just a nuisance, she was a threat to her bank account. Back in Clara's silent, levying room, Daniel stared at the hammer, the broken aids, and Margaret's smug face. His fury hardened into focus. He'd take her down, not with shouts, but with the truth of sound or the lack of it. "Mrs. Voss," he said, his voice cold as a lab report, "your claims about my mom's aids are nonsense. These are FDA-regulated medical devices, designed to process sound for the wearer, not broadcast it. I've tested them myself. No emissions, no noise. You've committed a felony destroying medical equipment, assaulting an elderly woman, and causing emotional harm. I'm calling the police, and you're detained until they get here." Margaret's confidence wavered, a twitch in her eye betraying her. "You're throwing jargon at me, Dr. Harper. My senses don't lie." Daniel stepped closer, unblinking. "Your senses are either broken or lying. And I'm betting this whole thing, your break-in, your attack, the hammer was caught on my mom's security system. We'll see what the tapes say in my lab." Her face went white. Daniel dialed the cops, giving his title and the address with chilling calm. Margaret sputtered. "This is a misunderstanding. Clara's sensitive, she probably broke them herself." But Daniel's stare shut her up. The police arrived fast. Daniel laid out the crime: assault, battery, destruction of property, and pointed to the conservatory security camera, which Clara, a bird-watching nerd, kept running to record rare warblers. He hoped it had caught everything. In his lab, Daniel and his tech, Sarah Lopez, pored over the footage. The video was crystal clear. Margaret barging in, while VYing the hammer, Clara shrinking in fear. The audio was gold: normal room sounds, a faint TV documentary, Clara's knitting needles clicking softly. No screeches, no hums. Then Margaret's voice, shrill and accusing, followed by the gut-wrenching saw-crack saw of the hammer. Daniel built a forensic timeline, syncing audio and video, with Graphs Pro VYing the aids were silent until they were smashed. He handed the report to Detective Jake Sullivan, a grizzled cop who'd seen it all. Sullivan watched the footage, jaw tight. "Dr. Harper," he said, "this is next-level cruel. Her story's a Leah cover for elder abuse and felony destruction. With this EVY Denke, the DA's got a slam dunk. Margaret was arrested that day, her protests falling flat as she was cuffed and led away. The trial was a bloodbath. Margaret's lawyers tried everything, claiming she had hyperauditory sensitive VY tie, a moment of panic, even that Clara faked the footage. But Daniel's EVY Denke was bulletproof, backed by Clara's audiologist, Dr. Elena Torres, who explained the aids de la 20,000 price tag and medical necessity. Margaret's sound therapy hustle came out too, painting her as a fraud who'd do anything to protect her cash flow. The jury didn't blink. Guilty on all counts. The judge tore into Margaret, calling her a heartless bully who preyed on a vulnerable senior. She got prison time, full restitution for Clara's aids and therapy, and hefty fines. Her HOA crown was gone, her reputation dust. Clara's road back was rough. Weeks without sound left her fragile, but Daniel stayed close, writing notes, miming words, just being there. The neighborhood, ashamed of their silence under Margaret's reign, stepped up with meals and VY sits. The HOA ousted Margaret and vowed to be kinder. When Clara's new aides arrived sleeker, stronger, she switched them on, and the world roared back. Her clocks tick, birds chirping, Daniel's voice sang, "Welcome back, Mom." Tears fell, but they were happy ones. Maple Grove found a new rhythm, one of real connection, not forced silence. Daniel kept chasing sound in his lab, knowing it wasn't just datate, it was life, love, Clara's laughter ringing clear, a song louder than any cruelty. What do you think? Did Margaret genuinely believe Clara's aids were harmful, or was it all a calculated move to protect her shady business? Should Clara sue the HOA for enabling Margaret's reign of terror? Could Daniel have stopped this sooner, or was Margaret's downfall INEVY table? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more stories that'll make you think twice about the sounds around you.